Welcome back to regular programming. Now it's time for the super fun happy horror hour with your hosts, Adam and Mike.
And so we're back, 2026, the super fun happy horror hour begins again. We've had a bit of a break. Thank you for being patient with us. My opposite number, Mr. Mike, Beyond Horror. How you going, mate? Happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. I don't want to, sort of yuck anyone's yum or anything, but I've missed you. It's been a really busy Christmas time.
Mm.
But the idea of going live again and recording is like I'm pretty fucking stoked about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to admit the same. I'm feeling a bit happy to be back on the wagon or back off the wagon, recording again with you. And today, this episode, we have a special one again, one of our special ones, which we might make a bit more common down the track. Just depends on whether we can be asked. Well, I know I'll be asked less going to the cinema than Mike because he goes way more often than me. But we're going to be doing 28 Days the Bone Temple, having a bit of chat about that. So, because, I mean, from my perspective, I think everyone should see it, especially if they're into the 28 franchise. What are your general thoughts on 28 years later, the Bone Temple, Mike?
As someone that thought that 28 years, the first one, was a bit lackluster, and I felt
Ooh.
that it took away from the franchise that I had loved so much prior.
Okay.
Um,
We're going to be talking about that now too.
so the first, like, I love 28 days. I love 28 weeks. Both of them, obviously vastly different movies from each other within the same
Yeah.
universe, but substantially different. There's not a
Hmm.
lot that link the two. It's a completely different cast, all this sort of thing. Um, and then so when they announced this one, and the fact that at least for the first one, Garland was coming back, Boyle was coming back, I was like, okay, this is gonna be good. I
Hmm.
expected there to be, a different cast, but we've had that with the first two movies anyway. So I was like, okay, I'm open to that. But the vibe of the movie felt so different, and it was just really hard for me to like get invested with these characters. Like there's
Really?
not. Yeah, I
In
didn't
28
really.
years?
Yeah, I
That
I
blows my mind.
yeah, and it's mostly like realistically, I know what it is, and it's the fact that like I didn't have any sort of connection with. I'm gonna say his name wrong. I always get it wrong. Is it Aaron Johnston Taylor or Aaron Taylor
Taylor
Johnson or
Johnson.
whatever?
Taylor Johnson,
Like
yeah.
I I was watching it thinking that he's a relatively shit father in it. Like,
Yeah, I
and
think
I
that's the point, though. That's the point, I think.
and then I also just, and not to say that I think I would fare better in a zombie apocalypse or like a virus apocalypse like this. Like I probably would have been gone in the first day.
Yeah. Well, rule
But
number one is cardio. So,
yeah,
yeah, that rules
well,
me
not
out.
even, well, not only just that though, but like I would be that guy that like puts his head out to just check to see if the coast is clear and get bitten on the neck like straight away.
You'd
Like
probably
that'd
get your
be,
head taken off by a power pole if you stick your head out the
or
window.
well, yeah, that's it. I'm glad I don't have a nut allergy. Like, hey, look at us putting like Easter eggs into our own podcast. Um, but no, like I just realistically, there was nothing that I cared about the movie. I just didn't. None of the characters drew
I think you
me
need to
in.
rewatch it. I think 28 years later
Maybe.
is fantastic. But
Look,
moving on to,
yeah, I might need to rewatch it. That could be
I think
the
so.
whole issue. Um. But moving on to this one, and again,
Yes.
I knew that it was. Well, no, I didn't actually know, but like, and I should say, spoiler alert. So anyone that hasn't seen it, stop now, unless you get it, um, you don't care. But we get a whole different cast this time round. Um, there's not a whole lot of people in there um, who we've seen in other movies. That it's quite a new cast. And one thing that I like about it is that it sort of makes for a bit of a anthology approach because again, we get a whole new cast. There's only what realistically like two or three people
Two or three
that we
carryovers, yeah.
so it's a
Spike,
whole new cast.
Ian, and
Um,
the Freckly girl. I can't remember her name.
yeah, and but that's it. So we go okay. Um, this is
Well,
it.
unless you count that final scene at the end of 28 years
Yeah,
and
which I
those guys,
don't
but they don't
really
count. No,
like.
no, no, no.
Um, I don't count that because that's like if anything like um it's just what that is. But then what I
What?
liked about it,
Mm.
yeah, go on.
No, no. I was just gonna ask what your general thoughts were for it,
I
and then we
think
can
the
get into some
things,
more detail. I mean, did you like it, love it, hate it?
yeah, I liked it. I liked it. Look, I didn't love it. I liked it
Mm.
a decent amount.
What did you give it on Letterbox? Was it four?
What did I? I think I gave it four,
And that four's
which
only a
I
like?
don't. Well, I don't know. Like, it's definitely a movie I have to watch again because a
Yeah.
part of me, like, I'm not 100% sure. A part of me goes, in one instance, I think four's too high. In another instance, I think 3.5 is too low.
When I okay, I definitely think when I first graded it, I gave it 4 stars. The next day, I woke up and I gave it an extra half a star. I love this film so much for so many reasons. It's
I
incredible.
I
Alex
love it for a
Garland
lot
is
of, yeah.
Alex Garland writing like he's written both of them, and I think he's writing the third one as well. And it's another new director for the third one. But I like you said, I love anthology horror more than any
Yeah.
other type of horror, and this being in an anthology, as I was sitting there watching it, I was thinking this is really in the discussion now with the Evil Dead for the best horror franchises ever.
See, look, I don't agree. I don't agree.
Oh, yeah,
But
yeah.
I
Tell
think
me, I'd like to talk about that a bit more.
Yeah, I definitely think we should. And one of the things though, and I think it would be in benefit of the franchise for 20, I'm just going to call it 28. The
Yeah,
franchise
yeah, the
is
28
28.
franchise. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
it would benefit that if they did want to go, if it was a deliberate thing that they wanted to sort of do an anthology sort of
Mm.
route, it would benefit for them to make that like publicly known.
Well, we did mention spoilers, and I think it's obvious in the films themselves because, especially at the end, there was
In
audible
the films
gasps. Well,
yeah,
there was an audible gasp at the end when Killian Murphy appears, right?
especially
Because
with the music plays as well.
yeah, 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 and I heard people go like, "Wow," like that, and I was like, "Oh, excellent! This is cool. I like the way this is going." And we know there's a third one planned, so I
Yeah.
can bring it, and I think that's where it will end because Killian started it, he'll probably end it. Well, that's the idea. Will they make a 28 years later a fourth one of those? Like, because it's going to be like a 28 years franchise more than a 28 franchise now, I think.
Yeah, I think but I think that a lot of people, the reasons why I love this movie is actually the reasons why a lot of people didn't like it. So whereas I see it as a bit of an anthology, and I definitely
Yeah.
see at least this lot, I see it as a standalone trilogy. Yes, there's obviously things
Yeah.
that link it to the first
Mm.
two movies,
Yep. We can
but
almost call
uh,
them prequels now. Well, they are
yeah,
prequels, but we could
yeah.
almost call them
Um,
prequels. Yeah.
And as opposed to what you've just said there with Killian Murphy's appearance,
Mm.
there was nothing that tied these. I mean, and we don't know what happens in the third one, but at least with this, apart from Killian Murphy's appearance at the end of the second movie,
Mm.
there has been absolutely nothing that has tied this to the first two movies. Like
No,
at
which is
all.
great.
Like
I love
nothing.
that. I
I
love
think it's
that.
perfect, but
Because
I
it should
think
be, because it's 28 years later. So effectively, 20, well, I mean, it's a big gap between the 28 weeks later, right? Like it's absolutely, it should be completely unrelated because it would be in real life.
yeah, but I think so the things that I see, right, is this be if it is going to be an anthology franchise, one, because I don't expect everyone to pick that up or to realize or anything, Garland or Boyle have to go out and say it in an interview, right? Mention the word anthology. It's just like use it as like a
Mm.
fucking hot word, put it out there because of this. And this is
With
where,
connective tissue.
yeah, or anything like, but that's enough for people to pick up if they pick up
Yeah.
other things. But exactly that, because the way that I see it, and this is where it comes back to what I loved about the movie and what people didn't love about the movie, is that this is easily a franchise that could have spin-offs, right?
Oh
Easily.
yeah, 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 yeah.
Like there's
Walking Dead did it, so yeah, it's the same.
but
Yeah.
this could be like so easy to do it
Hmm.
where I kind of think as much as I loved this, I'm gonna call it the fourth movie, but like
Yeah.
this fourth movie, this would have worked so much better as a spin-off, as
Mm.
another movie that had, because the
I
reason for this is that this movie put so much meat on the bones, which I wanted because the first movie out of this trilogy did not. I don't think it put enough meat on it. It gave you a sense of like how shit life has gotten, and it's
yeah.
given you a singular sort of problem to
Mm.
deal with, right?
I can't.
Whereas this one,
Yeah.
I think you get to see where so many different people originated from. You get a
Mm.
bit of an idea about Calson, Samson.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
get to see stuff to do with like various Jimmys and like what caused
Yeah.
that. Um, and then obviously it almost becomes a bit of like a origin story as well. Even though we see a little bit in the first movie with the church and stuff, but we
Mm.
see more of that. Whereas that's a lot of the hatred, or not so much hatred, but a lot of the stuff that people aren't liking are saying that this movie did not progress enough, did not move the story along enough,
Oh,
because
I
it was
disagree
like
so much.
I do too.
I think the intent of these films, and I would actually say these. That's what the beauty of this franchise is that they are effectively spin-offs, but also sequels at the same time because it's continuing on that zombie infection. What this? I mean, there was sticking to the Bone Temple, and just to get in. I disagree with a lot of those dislikes. I think 28 years later was an epic film of character development. It was a character-driven story and really heartfelt, heartwarming one. And it had an ending, but then they created this one as well that I think it does expand on the lore. I think it does. I think it expands on zombie lore, and there's a special touch in that with Ray Fiennes' character that really, well, we're spoiling anyway, how he's basically developed a cure that may be lost to time, but there's a bit of hope there for the third one, right? Because Samson begins to talk. Um, so hopefully, yeah, you have seen the film if you listen to this, because there's quite some big spoilers there. But I've got a lot of love for this, and all those negatives that you read out, what people are saying are the bad things. I think I have counter arguments for all of that.
I do too. But this is where, and I don't want to, I'd never like to sort of shut down people's opinions because they have them for a
No,
reason.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
I'm
yeah,
sure they have. But then I also think that there are people, and again, this isn't me saying that I'm better than them in any way, shape, or form, or that
sure.
my views are more valid than theirs. But,
But
like,
you know what, though? On that note, just before you get into that, I think you being a horror expert, your views are more valid because you've had more, because you don't know if these are, whether they're more inexperienced horror people coming to this and going, oh, that's silliness and blah, blah, blah. Like I used to when I first started watching horror. That's so stupid. But now I watch horror, I can appreciate those silly bits in horror movies that I watch now, and it actually makes me love them. So I think you sell yourself short. I think your opinion would matter a little bit more, being your whole life has been devoted to horror.
I don't know if it makes it more valid or any more valued just because I think that, like,
Valid
movies
and
in general,
values two different things.
but, like,
Everyone's entitled to their opinion. There's a lot of people have opinions on whether the Earth is flat or round. I mean, just because your opinion is valid, but it's completely wrong, right? So because there's people with
yeah,
experience and knowledge who know it's fucking round. So this is the same type of argument for me. You have that experience
yeah.
and knowledge of horror, through your whole life, I think your opinion makes has a little bit more value, or it's a bit more valid. I don't know, whichever word you want
I
to choose.
look, I don't know. Like, I think that's one thing that I like about movies in general, is that they're so
It's
subjective
art.
and
Art will
and
be that way. Yeah.
right, like art is subjective. We know that, and that no one will ever view the movie a movie the exact same way as anyone else. You know,
No,
everyone will have their
no.
own different takeaways. There'll be people that notice things. There'll be people that don't. There'll be people that want to notice things. There'll be
Hmm.
people that don't give a shit. They just want to
Yep.
watch just it unfold, right?
And we have
And people,
different life experiences that determine that too.
yeah, and then also there's people that go to the movie just to watch a movie. You know,
Yeah,
they don't
absolutely.
they don't dissect like we
No,
do.
no.
They don't have letterbox or they don't do this. They go, they have pure enjoyment, and then
Hmm.
it ends there. And
Yep.
that doesn't make that their experience any less, like valid than ours, or that
No.
technically makes them any less of a movie lover or anything. Um, but it just comes down to the way that I saw it with this movie was I was really glad to see, because again, like it varies, because I know that you said the first movie you found to be pretty character driven, whereas I didn't
It's
get
you.
too much. I didn't get any like world building from it. I got thrown in the
Oh,
mix
really?
with a family that like had to go and like see, yeah, like they saw it, and obviously they went to what we now call the Bone Temple, like
See,
like Jodie Comer and
but yeah, but that's why I think this is so. These are movies are so special because they're written by an extremely intelligent person with Alex Garland, and he's more show
mm,
don't tell. And that's what I love about these films as well, because they
yeah.
do show that. So when you talk about world building, I think there's plenty of world building. It's just not exposited to us. It's
Yeah,
there's
look,
plenty to see on screen that tells us what is going on in this world without the characters. So that's why I think it's really clever writing and really intelligent writing, because it concentrates on the characters more, but their surroundings and their environment tells us the world that they're in, rather than them saying, "Oh, that's I can't do this and that because of this." You know what I mean?
yeah, and that's where and I got it, and this movie I think is where for me like nailed that hammer home because like for instance with the scenes like the bus scene with Samson, right?
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah, yeah.
we see
It's,
what that bus technically means to him, like
mm-hmm.
what that we
Yep.
get that even though we saw, I'm pretty sure, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that was the same bus that was in the first one.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. It is.
I
Yeah.
think it is. And
Definitely.
so we saw that, but at the same time, like it in the first one, we see it as at the time, it's just the location of a really cool scene, right? Like,
This
and then that's it.
There's so
Um,
many great moments in this one, especially compared to the first 28 years. I think, and that's one of them. Like this, and we'll talk about more moments a bit later, I suppose. But that is one great moment,
I just
one of the
like
many.
that this one felt like if and pardon the pun because this one's called the Bone Temple. For me, I thought that the first movie was definitely more about the story, the action, showing where things are at. But
Yeah.
for me, felt a little bit sparse where it came to like let me have some sort of connection with either the location or the characters within it. Because in the first two, I did, right? I loved
Mm.
like Killian Murphy's area. You get the hospital, you get the streets that he's on, you get all
Hmm.
this. And for me, highly important. The rooftop as well, the
Yep.
tunnel, all
Yep.
these places for me are icons.
Yeah.
I know these, like they're like, um, and
Hmm.
then in the second one too, we get the stadium, we get the big fields, you've got the lake that they've got to cross, you've got the
Yeah.
actual, what do they call it? Like the exclusion zone or whatever they're
Yeah.
in, like
Yeah.
that
Yeah. Hmm.
military zone. Like for me, I'm there going like, these are areas that I think I could be shown photos of, like even not
Mm.
even talking about it. I go, I know where that's from in the movie.
So you don't
I
have
could
that
tell
in
you
these
that.
two, these last two?
This one I do. The first one I didn't. Like I was like,
Okay.
okay. For me, in the first one, there's only two areas that stick out to me. Three, sorry, three areas that stick out for me. So the sandbar
Yeah.
that they've got to
Yeah.
cross, and
Yep.
that's only because we saw it about 120 different times in the one movie. Like, there's only so many times that I've got to see that before I get what's going on. Like, I literally saw that. I was like, there's going to be a point where the water's going to rise, and sure enough, like, it fucking happened, and I was like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
called it.
Yeah.
Um, so
That's
that was one.
foreshadowing, and that's what movies do.
Yeah. The Bone Temple, obviously, like that area, like how
Mm.
could you not
Yeah,
see
it's
that in
iconic.
there as
That is
well. Like
iconic. Yeah.
that will probably be the most, besides the photo of like Jim in the first movie, like walking across the bridge with his fucking plastic bag. I think that
Yeah.
that will be the most iconic location from 28 franchise.
For sure.
Um,
Absolutely.
but
There
then
are.
also in the first movie, like in the first 28 years, that house, with the guy
Mm,
hanging upside down in it.
mm.
And like that's where they sort of first sort of get a bit stuck and attacked, like Spike and his dad get in a bit
Yes.
of a,
Yeah.
and that I was like, okay, like that's a cool location, but not, I don't know if it's so memorable because they leave it and never go back. Like
It's
it's
not as memorable, no, but I think you're
um
right about that. But I don't think that's a massive detractor for me. But yeah, I mean, I just want to talk about, just bearing in mind, I guess, our time for this episode, but I just want to talk about, the performances in this, for one thing. I
oh
think
my
they're all
God.
remarkable. Jack O'Connor it's O'Connor, right? Not O'Connell? It is O'Connor.
Oh,
Sorry, guys.
Connor?
But
Oh
yeah, either way,
jeez.
it is
Yeah.
O'Connell. It is O'Connell. So I've screwed that up. He's remarkable. I'd never really paid attention to him before, and obviously, Sinners, I think, was the first time I've ever seen him. And it's he's kind of mind blowing. I really clicked with this movie because I grew up in a. This is going to sound like a bit of a stretch, but it relates. I can relate to it because I grew up in a poorer area, and I knew characters like Jimmy, the head Sir Jimmy Crystal Mix-a-Lot, whatever he was called. I can't remember now. Sir Lord Jimmy Crystal.
Yeah,
He,
that's it. So
yeah,
Sir
Sir
Lord
Lord Jimmy
Jimmy
Crystal.
Crystal.
He, I know characters like him. A complete blagger, and he's king of the kids. And basically, he's like
There was
this.
always people like that, wasn't there, growing up?
Absolutely. They just have they're always 5 years too old for the kids they're hanging out with because they've got the wood over them. They have this power over them because of their age, and he's a complete blagger. He's a complete bully, a typical coward bully, and we see that at the end. But he's remarkable in everything he does in this film, and look, honestly, all of them are. But him and Rafe Fiennes is also astonishing in this movie. It's they're both really funny, especially when they meet in that third act, when he thinks he's Satan, um, and he goes, "I'm Ian." He goes, "Oh," and just the look on his face when he finds out he's not Satan, he's not his dad, he's actually called Ian. So there's a lot to laugh at in this all the way through, to be honest. But that was the one that
Mm.
stood out to me. And have you got any? I know we're going to both agree on one movie moment because I think it's probably going to be the movie moment of the year. I can't see any moment beating it, and I think it's going to be the Iron Maiden bit, right?
Like literally, like this year's version of Sinners musical
It's
part, right? Isn't it though?
Yeah,
Like,
it's fucking sick, and
it was
what
really
made
well
me,
done.
and there's a part at the end where he's dying, where Rafe is dying, well, Ian is dying, and she goes, "So you're not Satan?" He goes, "No," and she goes, "You put on a good show." I'm like, "Fuck yeah, he did. That was great."
Yeah,
I thought that was
yeah.
just a brilliant little touches like that through. You put on a good show, and I don't know. There's so much. I love this film, man, a lot. And I've been thinking about it ever since. Best movie of 2026 so far. Um,
Yeah.
but it's
How dare January like see the release of such a good movie, right? Like,
I was listening to the Big Picture podcast, and they were talking about Matt Damon, Ben Affleck's new movie, The Rip, and they
yeah,
were like, had to have that even dumped even on streaming in January, that makes it kind of an A+ film, and because January is typically a dumping ground, and I think that might be the reason. Because sadly, Bone Temple isn't doing that great at the box office, which blows my mind because I think it's a spectacular movie, and if they had
yeah, but
released it
it's any
February or
other
March,
month.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, I think it would have. I think releasing in January is a bit of a mistake, to be honest. Um, yeah. Anyway, anything else to add? Do you have anything else you want to talk about? Moments in the movie, or like
Um,
there's some quite brutal. There's some pretty vivid brutality in this.
there's a lot. Like the charity scene in the barn or
Yeah,
whatever it is,
yeah,
like
yeah.
was so
Brutal.
well done. My favorite kill and I don't know if anyone else think it's their favorite,
Uh,
was the Hook scene.
Hook in the head. Yeah, 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 yeah.
I was just like, that was done so well.
I know something's happened, and she's like, "My cat's gone missing," or something like, "Oh, something's clumped in her head," like that. And that's another one of those lines. It just, and people won't understand what was going on until they rewatch it. I think, like, my cat's gone
Yeah,
missing. It's like,
but like,
yeah,
because again, as a foreshadowing thing, like a little bit earlier on, you do see the Hook hanging up there.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah,
but then, yeah, you see that, and then like the way that it happened too, like because it's your brain wouldn't, not that I'm a doctor, but or like a
Hmm.
neurosurgeon, but your brain doesn't not like automatically shut off, especially if it
No,
hasn't like
no.
damaged the whole thing yet. You know,
It
like
depends
it
where in the
can,
brain you hit too, right?
yeah, and it causes a bit of a ripple effect, and so
Yeah,
you're basically seeing their brain systematically shutting down bit by
yeah,
bit,
yeah,
but then also to show, like, for instance, like the pressure in, like, there's obviously really obviously there's internal bleeding, right? Like there's some mass like cranial hemorrhaging happening in this movie to the point where you see
yeah.
like the blood nose, and then you start seeing like her
The
eyes,
eye, the eyeball. Oh,
yeah, like, and I was like, that is so well done, because a lot of movies would go and try and make that really like gory.
yes,
Um,
but it's
would
very
wouldn't
authentic.
Yeah, like
Mm.
it is still like shocking to see. Like I was like, oh, like that was nasty. Like it's still brutal to see happen, and the noise that it makes, like when it hits too.
Yeah,
Like I'm like, oh,
yeah,
like, um,
yeah. That's what I mean. I think it's quite authentic in those touches. It's not
mm,
horror like. It's very real and it's very immersive because it is quite. If this was the world we lived in, you could see all of this happening 100%. Like it's very authentic in that manner that you can just see because it's the Wild West and it's every man for
yeah.
himself. So people like this would exist. They would just go around and suck up resources like humans do. And but then they have to kill other people to do that. So that's what they do.
Oh yeah, like humanity. Like in all honesty, you think about it, humanity is like inherently like fucking greedy and selfish.
Yeah, yeah,
Like that's just
of
look at like
course,
what
because it's
COVID did
survival.
to us,
But
right?
yeah, well, exactly. It's all survival techniques. It's
But
all every
it's
man
not
for himself.
necessarily. But that's the thing though, like, is you would hope that as a species we could take what's needed and leave the rest.
Mm,
But unfortunately, as we saw with COVID, that wasn't the case. Mass hysteria hit very quickly,
hmm.
you know, and we saw the like people selling rolls of toilet paper on eBay for $50. Like, I never thought in my wildest
Scumbags, right?
imagination I would ever see something like that.
It's
Really, like
bizarre.
that you have to, like, in during COVID, toilet paper was one of the biggest commodities. Like
Yeah,
toilet paper, out of
yeah,
everything, toilet
yep,
paper was what it was. And I'm
yep.
there going like,
And spraying
serious? Like,
white, even spraying white as well.
yeah, like
Like
an
think,
antibacterial, like, like
yeah,
the
hand
pump
wash.
bottles and stuff. Like, yeah, like all that. I'm there going, what? Are you serious? Like, this is like
But
what
that was
we've
it
come
was a
to.
global phenomenon too. Toilet, it wasn't just Australia that were toilet. It was every country. Toilet
Yeah.
paper was the number one
Um,
thing.
But no, to like wrap up what I thought about this movie, I
Mm,
liked how, I think I mean, despite the fact that it's obviously a viral outbreak, and that part
yeah,
hasn't happened in the world, we don't have that. But like, it felt very grounded. I do believe that, if that were to happen now, there would be people living in a fucking country house on their own in the middle of fucking nowhere. With,
definitely.
like, maybe too many people in the one house, but just still like just trying to get by,
Hmm.
um that would be somewhat fearful that they don't want to like have anyone, even outsiders, come into it.
Mm.
um I think that there would be people, like, maybe not necessarily in matching Jimmy Savile uh I
Yeah,
track suits and stuff,
it's
but I do
very.
think that, yeah, I don't, have you seen all the PSAs about people going, do not dress up as Jimmy for
No, I
for
haven't.
Halloween? Yeah,
I
because they're
haven't.
going like, who he's dressed up as, and people
Yeah.
don't.
No,
And
no, they
then,
wouldn't. They wouldn't.
so even like I think it was Rolling Stone UK put up a PSA up
Really?
on Instagram going, before Halloween comes along or anything like that, please do
That's
not dress
great.
up as Jimmy.
That's
Um,
fantastic.
because obviously not everyone necessarily knows who, Jimmy is, like in real
Mm,
life. Um,
no.
and but what a sour taste that could leave in people's mouths, right?
There's yeah, it's an easy Google.
Yeah, well, and like, please, like, if you take anything from this episode, please Google before dressing up as a Jimmy for Halloween,
Yeah.
because especially if I mean, look, if you're in the UK, you'd probably know who it is. You're probably not that stupid to not know.
Yeah.
But yeah, do your research. The things that I really like, my biggest takeaways from this was I thought that it was a grounded movie. I really liked getting to see like inner workings of certain characters that I didn't necessarily think that we would get to see. Like I
Mhm.
did like seeing a little bit more about Coulson's character. The Samson story was actually like quite touching,
Yeah,
and explained a lot. Like he's an
it
alpha
was.
because he basically, he was infected as a kid, so he's grown up
Yeah.
as an
Yeah.
infected. Like, and
Yeah.
that's technically our first time that we've been able to see that. Sure, there would be
Yep.
other infecteds in there that are in the exact same boat, but we've never seen that because I don't know necessarily if we've really seen too many kid infecteds in any of the movies.
No. No,
Like
that
maybe one or
yeah.
two in the initial outbreak, but then nothing. We only ever really see adults.
Yeah.
But it makes sense. Like you generally, if it's only a virus and it's not zombies, so they're technically not dead,
Yeah.
you would keep growing. Like there's
Absolutely.
nothing
Yeah.
that would. So there's a reason why he's an alpha, and it isn't just the 28-inch fucking piece
There's a
that
lot
he's
of dong in
packing
this
either.
movie, man. There's a lot of dong
Um,
in this movie. I think that
but
was
like
prosthetic though, because
it is, it is. Like they've
yeah.
said that. Like
Oh,
they
have they?
like
You
they
used to
said
by the
that's
pubes.
prosthetic.
The pubes were well too manicured. It looked like Richard Pryor's afro from '77. It was well too manicured, man.
Well, especially like I mean, what they don't have like Manscaped in the fucking like,
No,
like
it'd be wild and bushy as hell. Like it would not
yeah,
be
there'd
a
be like
perfect
fucking
fro.
there'd literally be like a bird's nest in there, like
Yeah, it would.
um. But no, and then I really liked. So there are a lot of in the first movie. It was a very like cold looking movie. Lots of like hues
Mm.
and contrasts of blues. A lot of it.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Um, this movie, there was a little bit of that, but there were a lot of warm contrasts, and there were a couple of times, especially with like the end scenes, where it's
hmm
nighttime.
The
You've got the Ring
fire.
of Fire,
Mm.
but then they're
I
showing like the
fell
moon.
in.
Um, to show the two, it's like beautiful to show like have the oranges that are like eclipsed by the blues on the same screen at the
Yeah,
exact same time.
I can't wait
Like
to
I was there
get the
going like
steelbook
they're
of this.
beautiful.
I
Well,
can't
I
wait.
don't have the steelbook of the first one though.
Oh, don't you? I've got the
No,
steelbook
I
here.
don't actually own it. I don't own it.
Ooh.
Uh,
Okay.
um, but this movie, I enjoyed it enough
Mm.
that if it's a nice steelbook, I'd buy it.
I've seen the UK cover and it looks fucking amazing. It looks so
Um,
good.
but yeah, I don't know. Like to wrap it up, yeah, that's the stuff that I liked. I preferred this movie over 28 Years Later.
hmm
I'm excited about what the third one will be. I hope that it's still like, it's on the up and up. We're going to only get better.
Yep.
I don't know. Are Garland and Boyle back for the third? Because I know
Uh,
Nia DaCosta did.
she's not directing it. She's definitely not directing the third one because I looked it up the other day.
I'd gladly let her. Like
Oh
after this
yes,
one, like
this
I
is
would go,
beautifully
yeah,
directed. It just says Alex Garland is writing it. There's no one else attached at all. So who knows when it's even coming? If it's coming now, because this one's not going well at the box office. But yeah, Nia, give her all the money to do number three because she directs the shit out of this. It's brilliant.
yeah,
It's brilliant,
um,
especially that scene.
yeah, like the whole thing was just good. Like, and I have to admit, I was a little bit apprehensive when they said that.
Ah, I
The
apologize.
co-
Danny Boyle is coming to direct the third one.
okay, so I
Alex
mean
has
that
written
could
it.
be good.
Yeah. Oh, hell yeah.
Um,
I mean, I think 28 years, the first 28 years, I think there's some of the best photography in that
yeah,
I've
I agree.
seen in a many years. Many years. There's so many beautiful shots in that. Next to a
Yeah,
Park Chan-wook film, absolutely stunning.
Yeah, and that's true.
Any
Um,
final thoughts, or do you want to
Final
wrap?
thoughts. My final thoughts was I really enjoyed the ending. Hearing that music again gave
Hmm.
me absolute fucking chills.
Yeah,
Um,
very
I'm
cool, huh?
excited. This one has won me back over. I do realize that I should go back and watch 28 Years again, especially
Yep.
after seeing this.
Yeah, yeah.
I went into this one heavily skeptical and ready to be disappointed. I did. That is the truth. Um, However, I was pleasantly surprised, and I think that the hate that this movie's getting is unfounded, and
I think it's dumb.
I disagree with what they're saying, realistically.
Yeah, I think it's
Um,
dumb that if people are shitting on it, and if all that stuff you said at the start, completely arguable.
yeah.
Yeah. Anyway. So yeah, I don't think I have any final thoughts other than it's a full-throated recommend from me. I think it was amazing. I loved a lot of it. I laughed. I almost cried. I winced, and I had all of the. It was proper horror. Would have been a five
Yeah.
stars if it wasn't for some very extremely effective jump scares. Three of them in particular that made me shit my pants. But it was just because in the cinema it was so fucking loud as well, man. It was so loud in my cinema.
When Carlson he's looking for Samson, and then all of a sudden he turns and he's like, "Vroom," and it was so loud. I jumped probably two or three times in the movie too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. It
yeah.
pissed me
So,
off. I thought it was dirt. It did. Like it actually made me angry. I thought it's just dirty
do you not
tricks.
like jump scares in general? Like, do they piss you off in
Oh,
general?
most of the time I see him coming, but these three I honestly didn't
Shouldn't you be
see.
thankful for that though? Like, because
Well,
then they've
no,
done their
because I
job
think
right.
it's no. Well, they have, but I don't like those type. Like I'm
I don't
any
think that these
any
jump scares were cheap though. I think these ones were extremely well done.
they were a really effective cheap jump scare. I think all jump scares are cheap to get a scare, to be honest, but they were extremely well done. But that's why I didn't like them because I have an aversion to this is the inside the actor studio, but I feel I can't be around balloons. I actually hate balloons because I look at them and I'm like, this is going to pop at any second. I'm always on my toes, just waiting for the bang. And it always comes at
Okay.
a time I never hear it. So that's what I think of jump scares as well. It's just like this sudden bang of loud noise. Of course, that's going to scare you. That scares anyone.
Mm.
Um, it's an easy way to get someone to go, oh, like that. And so that's why I think they're cheap. But these are very, very good and very effective ones, though, albeit they're still cheap because they're jump scares. That's all I mean by that.
Yeah. No, I agree to an extent. But yeah,
Let's
let's
wrap it
wrap
up.
this one up and just tell everyone to go see this movie. If you're like me and we're a little bit skeptical about the first one, I believe that this one just completely ups the stakes completely. Um
Hmm.
and redeems what I thought wasn't necessarily a great movie beforehand. This one has made me excited for the third installment.
It also builds in a great setup for number three, which will come hopefully next year at the latest. So yeah, bring it on. Thank you for tuning into the Super Fun Happy Horror Hour. We will see you very soon with our most anticipated horror films of 2026 coming to a podcast feed probably now, actually. Anyway, thank you guys. Bye.
Mm,
Mike says
bye.
see ya.